It's been about a month since we moved in, and this is not our first rodeo. We've owned a home before. One of the things that we've learned is that you are always going to want to put your own fingerprints on your house. Make it your own. Make it unique. Make it the visual representation of who you are as people. Our house is not that right now. Our house is the visual representation of other people. But making a house your own doesn't happen overnight. There's an old adage that you can have it now, you can have it cheap, or you can have it right. I would much rather have it done right and on a smaller budget than have it right now. Which means that we have to sit and prioritize what is most important to us going forward in this house and in this space. And we have to kind of live in it for a while and see what improvements can kind of happen organically. You have to get kind of used to how you're going to live within the space. So in my video about bread making and time management, I alluded to the fact that I had to come up with a system for prioritizing projects as a way to help continuing managing my time. So you may ask yourself, why, Miranda, are you sitting upstairs puttying the walls of your bedroom? And it's a very simple answer. It's a question of the need to get it done and the would like to get it done. And so, as I mentioned before, we have to replace the flooring up here. We knew that going into buying this house, that carpet cannot be allowed to live in our house. We have 5 pets inside, 4 cats and 1 dog who really, really, really loves carpet in a way that is really inappropriate. He likes to use it as a toilet. He's perfectly potty trained, but you put him on carpet and it all goes out the window. He'll tell you when he has to go to the bathroom. He'll look at you with his big soulful brown eyes like, hey, buddy, it's time for me to go out. And then he gets on carpet and it's like he forgets everything. Maybe it's its grass-like texture, who knows? So the flooring we knew needed to happen. And we knew that it needed to happen pretty much immediately after moving in. We also knew that doing it when we moved in gave us a degree of flexibility because none of our furniture's up here yet. We're currently living in the downstairs of the house and it's functioning just beautifully. We sleep in a room that the previous owner used as their master, but we're going to use as a den because that supports our lifestyle better. Everett's using what was a closet 2 owners ago, or sorry, what was a bedroom 2 owners ago, but then the previous owner used as a closet, but now we're using it as an office. It is an old bedroom. It's not like he's not Harry Potter working out of a closet. It's literally a very small bedroom. But Everett's using it as his office. Eventually we will get him up here and he will use the upstairs as an office as well. But because the house is supporting us and supporting our lifestyle so seamlessly, we realized that we had a really, really I want to say unprecedented, but too many people have said unprecedented in the last 2 years. We had an opportunity where we could do everything we wanted to the upstairs before we even move our furniture in. that will also allow us to do everything we want to do to the den before we move our furniture in. So, because of how we are currently living, I have a little more leeway to get things finished, which means I can do a combination of gotta do it and wanna do it. The gotta do it is the floor. The wanna do it is the wall treatment and paint. So the upper half of the room will be painted, not the ceiling. We're keeping the ceiling natural because we really like it. We're painting the upper half of the walls above the green frog tape, capital white from the Colonial Williamsburg collection by Benjamin Moore. The lower half of the wall, which I am puttying to make it smooth before we do the board and batten treatment, is going to be a color called Getty White, which is a deeper, creamier color. Getty White, it actually gets its name from the Getty House, I believe, in Colonial Williamsburg, but the color is reminiscent of 18th century pottery and some of the white paint found at the Getty House. One of the cool things about the Colonial Williamsburg collection by Benjamin Moore that I just totally nerded out over is the fact that as they started doing analysis of the different pigments, they realized, the scientists and the chemists and the historians realized that the colors were way more vibrant than we imagined, and you get these very rich, saturated colors that are just, they play really nicely together. So a lot of the colors in our house are coming from that collection. I used Colonial White, or Capital White, in my upstairs. I'm using it in my downstairs. I'm using one of the blues probably in my kitchen in the future. We're also pulling from the historical collection. So I like, there's something about the historical colors that make them more timeless. They're less trendy. And I feel like when you go for that more classic, less trendy color palette, you're going to live with it longer and you're gonna like it longer. It's kind of the equivalent of the little black dress or the cashmere sweater. It just wears better longer and doesn't ever really look dated, which is kind of what we're going for with this house. We want it to have kind of a timeless yet modern, fresh look. So that's something that keeps coming back, you know, to our vocabulary every time we talk about what we want our house to look like. We want it to feel timeless, but fresh and modern. So we'll see if we are able to execute this vision that we have in our heads. So to do this, you just kind of put some of the compound, be careful, that's where you got a join right there. That can be problematic because if you notice it flexes a little bit. So if you kind of gentle here, and I'm gonna have to sand more heavily. That's not the best place to show you how to do this, but maybe it is. You just kind of smooth it in there, and I'm mindful of the fact that I am likely gonna have to do 2 coats of this. I'm gonna have to let it dry and then come back. The first go is to really just fill it in as best as I can. Switch directions and the baseboards we're going to be putting in are a little more substantial than these. They're a little taller. I like a beefy baseboard. I didn't want to go with like an 8-inch though, or 10-inch, because the ceilings up here are kind of low. So I was trying to be mindful of scale. And we just kind of smear it in there. And then we're gonna let it dry. And then when it's dry, or mostly dry, you come back in and you do a second coat. And that just kind of, it combats any shrinking that you may have, it kind of, or any lack of smoothness. Originally we thought about covering the walls with hardboard, like a masonite, like to give it a nice smooth appearance before we put the board and batten up. But I thought, you know what, I've seen this done. If it works, that's great. That saves us several $100s, because that was going to be a lot of masonite or drywall or whatever we used. And if this doesn't work, that's what we'll do. But so far, so good. I'll catch up with you guys once this is primed and painted. So both coats have been sanded, and now we've pretty much primed the entire, well, the whole room has been primed. Even the back of the door. Go over here so you can see what I'm talking about, because it's way too close. We are going to paint the door to match the wainscoting, which I think is going to be really cool. We changed direction with the trim, and I think it's going to look really sharp. I'm really actually very excited about it. This is how you know that you're, you know, becoming a boring adult, when you get excited about trim in your bedroom and your house. But the primer's covered really nicely, and the cracks and creases are pretty smooth, so I'm very pleased with the outcome. So we got the second coat of the Capital White up, and then I got the first coat of the Getty Cream up. And once I painted, I started noticing a few little places where my putty job wasn't as nice as I would have liked. So I went back and re-puttied before I do coat 2. And I'm just letting that dry. So we completed coat number 2. And we finished out the weekend by ripping up all the carpet and padding. Which means the next step is for me to come through and pull out all of the staples. We ripped up the carpet padding, the carpet, and the little tack strips that hold everything down. So, in order to get a nice, smooth floor in, all of these fasteners have to come up. But phase 1 of the master bedroom is pretty much completed. While I was in between steps in the master bedroom, I went ahead and did the first and second coats on Everett's office. This looks a lot muddier than it does in real life because of the lighting in here. We have better lighting fixtures on the way. They're ceiling fans, they're flush mounted. I'm really excited about this. But this pair of greens is also from the Colonial Williamsburg collection. The lighter green is called Russell green, and the bottom one is called Palace green. Again, we're gonna do a wainscoting type treatment on the walls. I think it's gonna be really, really sharp, very dignified, which is kind of what we were going for. Masculine dignity, I guess. the ultimate theme of this room. We ripped up the carpet and the carpet tacks as well, which means all I have to do is go through and pull up every single one of these staples, which is probably gonna take me all week.